Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, Pack Pride, Buzzbeat Podcast, split the action on Substack. I'm sure there are other credits to him. He joins us on the Adam Gold Show. I appreciate North Carolina playing a fun basketball game that late.
Yeah, what a day out in Maui yesterday, right? There's a lot of stuff. Danny Hurley screaming at people. You got comeback victories. You got buzzer beaters. You got toes on the line. It was pretty awesome. And, yeah, I mean, Dayton UNC, that was an excellent early season game. Really fun. Thought both teams showed a lot of good stuff, especially on the offensive side of the floor. And, yeah, certainly, I mean, UNC maybe caught a small break at the end there with Santos pulling a Kevin Durant, having his toe on the line for a potential game time three. But man, what an effort by guys like Seth Trimble, who was outstanding at the rim, and RJ Davis with all the shot making from beyond the arc. And I thought even Elliot Cadeau, just sort of like his ability to touch the paint and some of the passing he had was really good yesterday. And it was they beat a top 40, top 50 team in the country.
Yeah.
So it's a good win.
It was a very good win, and you don't get too many early season games that feel like it. Like, this is going to sound, I don't mean to say that these games are on par, but the way those teams were trading big shots, especially in the last, say, 6 minutes of the game, felt like, and you're too young to remember this, 1992 Duke, Kentucky, East Regional Final, where neither team had an answer defensively for the other. It was big shot after big shot, three-point play, three-point shot. It was awesome theater to watch. But you brought up the at least at first, the two players that I was super impressed with. Seth Trimble, who you and I have talked about it. I think Seth Trimble is star material in the college game. Who knows what happens going forward, but he's a super athlete. But, man, has he gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, the development is pretty obvious, especially because it's not in, little ways. It's in, big scoring, shot-making ways.
Yeah.
He's always been a great athlete. He's been a good defender. He was a good defender last year. He's always been, a nice cutter and slasher, always been a pretty good finisher around the rim for a guard, and he still does that. He got, how many points did he get off of, putbacks and, just sort of scavenger points last night in that game. But obviously what he can do, he hit those two corner threes on the left side of the floor. I guess that was early on in the game too. And it's a huge deal, obviously, for him, long term, but also it matters in terms of how you're going to guard UNC's offense this season. And, the development of Trimble, along with the departure of someone like Armando Bacot and the returns of RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau, you look at UNC and they've got really good front court players. I thought Jalen Withers and Jalen Washington both had some big moments and had to switch out against Dayton's guards and stuff yesterday. But you look at UNC now and they've just got so many good guards, especially when you include Jackson off the bench. They can get to all these three-guard looks.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy like Trimble who is, 6'2", 6'3", but is so athletic and rangy, it feels like it doesn't really feel like you're sacrificing much in terms of athleticism or size on the wing. And they're really tough to guard, especially because guys like Cadeau and RJ can just sort of pass the pick-and-roll baton back and forth to one another. And Hubert Davis has a lot of, pick-and-roll tricks up his sleeve, too. So they're going to be a tough team. I think, if there's anything you can pull away from last night is that they got a bunch of shot makers. The development of Trimble and Cadeau was big, and that UNC is going to be tough in late-game situations because they got a bunch of guys that can handle. And also, I mean, all those guys are getting to the line at crazy rates this season, too, way up over last year. All of those guys are drawing at least 5 fouls per 40 minutes, if not more. All big jumps over last season too. So as the usage has sort of been dispersed, as the offense is changing a little bit, those guys are all taking on pretty significant central roles. And guys like Cadeau and Trimble especially are scaling up.
I want to set aside 2 minutes to talk about Duke, who played Arizona on Friday, a game I watched. And we'll play Kansas, I believe, tonight. My head is spinning from all the news going on. I'm pretty sure the game is tonight in Vegas. But you and I talked about Drake Powell, and I mentioned to you that I thought he just hesitated when he got the ball in the corner. It looked like they looked at the video and said, "Hey Drake, when you get the ball in the corner, do something with it." And he pulled the trigger on a couple of threes that he made. I don't know if he made both of them, but he certainly was a willing shooter and at least an occasional maker, and that's good enough. Because if you're a threat, you are a threat. All right, real quick to Duke. I thought what impressed me about the win at Arizona, and this may benefit them against Kansas as well, was that it was a different type of win, I think, for a John Shire Duke team. It was a scrap that they had to survive with Arizona, who wanted to turn the game into chaos, and Duke physically up to the challenge against a bigger, maybe a stronger, maybe a more mature physically team than they were. And Cooper Flagg was awesome. And then the Knipple shot started to fall, and that was really the separation probably late. But I just thought they kind of grinded one out.
Yeah, it was an awesome defensive performance from them. And I know, Arizona is probably not what they were a season ago, but defensively, there's still a ton of talent on that roster. They've got three really good guards too, with Caleb Love, KJ Lewis, and Jaden Bradley. I mean, those guys are fast. Some of them can, a guy like Love can really burn you off the dribble with pull-up threes too. And I thought they were like sophisticated and tough defensively in that game. You saw them mixing up coverages depending on which Arizona guard was handling the ball. Duke was hard hedging screens against Caleb Love and making sure this guy doesn't, get it rolling from deep. And he did not. It was he's streaky, and it was certainly not like an on night for Love in Tucson. And then against KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley, they're playing drop coverage and trying to push those guys into taking mid-range twos. I thought Duke's defensive rebounding was very good in the game. I thought Malik Brown just doing everything they asked him.
Oh my gosh,
ball screens. He was awesome. I mean, Malawach battled fouls, injury, etc. I thought he, in his minutes as a young guy going up against a veteran, nasty front line, like I thought he had good showing. And then Flagg is just like everywhere defensively, on the backside of all of this stuff, especially when Duke's putting two defenders on the ball, starting pick and roll. He's putting out fires everywhere on the backside of the play. And I just thought Zion James was like rock solid for them on both sides of the ball.
Right.
Tough, physical, had those two cut baskets off high post feeds from Malik Brown. So very, very, very impressive showing from Duke. And I thought they did some cool stuff too. They mixed in their first possession of zone defense on the season on the out of timeout play for Arizona right before halftime that threw off whatever Arizona was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought a fun little piece of sort of payback was after we saw Arizona last season not guarding Mark Mitchell, not guarding Ryan Young, when Toby Awaka had the ball for Arizona, you saw Kamal Malawach just sitting in the paint, not going out there to guard him and clogging everything up at the rim. So it felt a little cosmic, you know what I mean? Having that sort of like come full circle 12 months later.
You're the man. Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, BuzzBeat Podcast. Split the Action. Go check it out. There was a new post after the Duke-Arizona game on Split the Action. You're the best, my man. I will talk to you very soon. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to both of you guys and your families.